And we are live. Welcome back to the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am joined by my main man, Mr. Idris Salam. And we have a special guest of the show, newly acquired Texas Ranger, Joey Gallo. Yeah, buddy. Just kidding. This is a guy that actually can hit better than Joey Gallo. His name is Michael Zappi. No, Gallo did not get traded yet. I do believe that he may get traded before the night's over. But let's get into this, man. We got the MLB trade bonanza. A lot of crazy trades going down in MLB. We weren't planning on going live tonight, but there is just too much going on not to. Oh, man. All right. We're going to start with my team, Idris's team, Jesus' team, the Bronx Bombers. Frankie Montes and Lou Trevino going to the New York Yankees from the Oakland Athletics for prospects. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, but I want you guys to hop on this first. Idris, what are your thoughts on this trade first and foremost?
We got our man. We needed a pitcher. We got our man. We got a mid reliever or closer. Could be a closer. We got a mid reliever. I'm happy. I'm happy because we needed pitching. We need another reliever. We've been going up and letting games slip in the last few innings. We needed somebody, a bridge. Well, definitely we need a starter because some games we're getting out slow. Then we gotta hit the ball, boom, 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 and come back. But I think with Montez, I mean, yeah, I give us an A on this one.
I'm pleased. We wanted this guy in spring training because we weren't really thinking about Luis Castillo in spring training. We were thinking about this guy when the Athletics were having that fire sale. Zappy, what do you think about this?
I mean, I think it was spot on. This is the guy I thought was going to end up being a Yankee dating back to last week, even a couple weeks ago. I know that this is to stay in line with the Astros. And when you look at Frankie Montes versus the Astros in his career, he is 5-3. And the 3 losses were not necessarily because of him. It was because he wasn't getting support from hitting. So you bring that into the equation, it definitely helps him out because like you guys said, the Yankees needed a pitcher. They needed another starter. They got that. And not only did they get that, they get someone that can come in and give you some good relief moving forward. So I give this one an A as well. I think it was a move that needed to be made, especially with the moves the Astros have made today as well.
Yes, and we're going to speak on that shortly. My thought on this trade, first and foremost, as I already said, we wanted this trade back in spring training. The Yankees were patient. They waited to see how the market looked in terms of other potential guys that were going to get dealt. They felt that the asking price for Luis Castillo was a little too much. Montez is a solid consolation prize. Trevino brings a very good depth to the bullpen that we desperately need. Aroldis Chapman is still trying to figure it out. He's been pitching better lately. And while Clay Holmes, even though with the blown save yesterday, has done a great job this year, it's good to have other seasoned guys. He knows the AL West. These 2 ball players are not fazed by looking at the Houston Astros.
No, they're not. And not to mention, they're not fazed by looking at the Seattle Mariners either.
Correct. Yankees are up 3-1, by the way. Just wanted to mention that. Yankees are currently up 3-1. So, Anthony Rizzo, 3-run shot. Mm-hmm. Idris is on it. Yes, sir. I'm excited. This is a necessary trade, very much so. But something that happens during these parts of the season are that other teams try to help out your enemies, teams that you don't get along with. Last thing I want to say on the Yanks, this gives them the ability to take their time with Luis Severino and figure out if he's going to take the Ramiro Mendoza long relief role or just kind of ease him back, and now he's your 4-man. Either way, this is a damn good day for the New York Yankees, and just a few days ago we added Andrew Benintendi.
Yep.
Are the Orioles and Red Sox and those fucking Houston Astros forming the team on the New York Yankees?
Of course.
I mean, it almost seems that way because let's face it, the Yankees have been the face of baseball for years. and I'm talking about years, and it was either you're a fan of the Yankees or you hate the Yankees. And the same was for the baseball teams. There was no team out there that had good things to say about the Yankees. And now you throw into 2017 with the Astros. And
2-run shot for Judge.
Yep.
5-1 Yankees.
I'll just get ready to say that.
So number 40. Hey, so that's number 44 for him. I believe that puts him on pace now for 67 for the year.
Yep.
My 68 prediction's getting closer and closer. I love it.
My 61's not looking too good.
He drinks milk, bro. He drinks milk. No PEDs. That man eats his Wheaties right here, bro. Continue, Zappy. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little excited here. Sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, like we spoke of before, the Red Sox, you know, they were in the thick of things a few weeks ago. Now they're doing a whole fire sale, and the best way to do a fire sale is to attack the best team, which happens to be your biggest rival. So, hey, who needs Christian Vasquez? Who needs a catcher? Well, there was the Mets, and there's the Astros. The Mets are still focusing on Wilson Contreras. Hey, Houston, what do you want? All right, we'll send them to you. And then the same thing with Baltimore. You know, Baltimore, they're in the thick of things, but they're slowly falling, and they're slowly falling out of the wild card as Tampa Bay and Seattle are clearly separating themselves from the pack. So, and Toronto as well. So, I mean, honestly, these teams are plotting. It seems that way, and rightfully so. We're talking about American League teams trying to beat the New York Yankees, and that is when you talk about baseball, year in and year out, it's you have to beat the Yankees. Even when the Yankees are bad, you have to beat the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree. Them picking up Mancini was a good. I didn't think the Orioles would get rid of him, but they gave him to the Astros. I mean, got him out of the division, sent it to our biggest rivals. You know, I was kind of surprised Ohtani didn't move.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I thought he would be gone already.
And you know, and it's interesting too because it does sound like the Yankees did present a very good offer, but it wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. So it seems like the Yankees said, "Okay, let's go get Frankie Montas." That's perfectly fine, but that now opens the eyes up to the Padres, who they did just extend their ace today, but they still need another pitcher. And if they can go out there and present something more to the Angels for Ohtani, we can very well see Ohtani moved by tomorrow. But I think it goes back to what you said, Idris, that he's going to be held on to and he'll be moved next year.
That's what I think.
Where do you grade this Mancini deal, Idris, to the Astros? What do you think about this deal? Is it as good as it sounds, or is it just another player?
Nah, I think just another depth guy.
They are deep. They got a deep team.
Yeah. I mean, but you can never. I mean, you're competing against the Yankees. You're gonna need depth. You never can have too much. First baseman. Hey, I give him a B plus, maybe A minus. I think it's not as big as it seems, but I think it helps him.
I'm actually more concerned about this pickup here.
Okay.
So I think that pickup was done in relation to the Mancini pickup because, yes, Mancini does bring depth. He's not going to be the DH. They're not going to take Alvarez off the DH spot.
Oh, no.
But Mancini can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
But the one thing that had been plaguing the Astros was the catcher position. Now you bring in a Christian Vasquez. I mean, that literally completes the Astros lineup.
Because Maldonado was not it.
And he wasn't it. But not only do they complete their lineup, they also have the depth to follow it. They're not going to be an easy out. This Yankee series with the Astros, the ALCS, it looks like it's building to at, just got that much more interesting.
I love it. The familiarity, and I said this on a quick 4 or 5 minute video that I did, because like I said, I didn't think we were going live until I saw all this other craziness going on. And I was like, we got to go live. But
got to go live.
Idris, Christian Vasquez, Houston Astros, what do you feel about this, man? You like I know you don't like it because you're a Yankee fan like myself.
Yeah.
But do you feel that this is really completes them more or less.
Yeah,
he can massage a pitching rotation too. You know.
Yeah. I think it does. Need a catcher, and like I said, Mancini, first baseman. I don't think he'll be a DH. But they say he could play multiple positions. I think Houston did good all around. I give him an A-. I think they stayed on par with us, and we stayed on par with them because we got what we needed. They got what they needed. And
now it's time to go to war.
It's time to fight now.
Right.
It's time to fight.
Yeah, it is time to fight.
Mean,
going to the Astros, I mean, they got depth. And I mean, Christian Vasquez, he gets on base.
Yep. It's gonna be interesting.
For real. And I'm gonna start on this one, and then I'm gonna let you guys ride in. Good friend of the show, John Olson, who's a diehard Packer fan and also loves his Milwaukee Brewers. I really believe that Brewer fans have every right to be fucking pissed right now. And it's not because the return wasn't good. They did get a closer. They got Lamet, who has the potential to be a hell of a pitcher. But they have a chance to win a division this year.
Right.
And most recently on the show that I had John on, I alluded to the fact how the Brewers are getting too damn cheap, and they've been too damn cheap. And they need to go spend some money. And instead, they trade arguably the best closer in the bigs. That's debatable, but he's up there in Josh Hader. Feeding him to a Padre team that can play the dark horse. You know, Tatis hasn't even picked up a bat and got in the box this year yet. Everybody thinks about the Giants, the Dodgers. This team has the potential to do some damage.
You know what? Them trading Hader, I mean, you trade him to a team that's chasing you. And
yeah.
I mean,
it goes against every logical. What are you doing?
The Padres are like right there. Like, come on, man. You go.
It's shitty for the fans.
And you know what?
It's shitty for the fans.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's
one of those teams, man. It's like they're almost right. Okay, get us, Zach. You gonna say?
No, I was going to say, it is very bad for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I was saying it is bad for Milwaukee and their fans. However, you got to look at it this way. While teams in the American League are coming together to beat the Yankees, it almost seems like teams are coming together to beat the Dodgers.
I get it, but Milwaukee's not. It's a little different than Boston. Because Boston is in transition, and I understand that. And I'm going to say this. I said this to some of my Boston friends earlier on a post on Facebook. Ever since Billy Beane left the Oakland Athletics and got involved in the Fenway group, the Red Sox have gotten really cheap. And I'm not trying to be funny because I respect Billy Beane very much. But not everybody can do it like the A's did during the Billy Beane era or the way that the Rays continue to do it in the Kevin Cash era. Boston's a big market. I don't know what this penny pinching bullshit's about over there either, because in the last few years, they traded franchise cornerstone Mookie Betts. Now they can't seem to come to terms with the best shortstop they've had since Nomar Garciaparra and Xander Bogaerts. And they haven't exactly committed to Rafael Devers, who basically owns the ace of the division in Garrett Cole. None of this shit makes sense to me with the Red Sox, because even though it's an off year for them, they're still playing roughly 500 baseball, which means that with a few arms, they can be a factor. I don't get it. And believe me, I don't feel bad, but what the fuck?
That's how I feel about the Brewers.
Yeah, but they're getting Gallo. They're gonna get Gallo. Everything's gonna be all right.
If they get Gallo, okay, but if they don't get Gallo, man, it's like, what
them over the top. Gallo will get them over the top.
Right? If you don't get Gallo, what are you doing?
220.
What are you doing?
And he's gonna go on a rampant tear. He only trails Aaron Judge by about 33 home runs. You give him 50 games.
Yeah. But if they don't get Gallo, what are you doing? You're giving up first.
I can see, and I'm not being totally facetious. I could see Joey Gallo going over there and actually getting his career back in order. And Brewers fans will take to him great because of his personality. There's a lot to like on certain levels. New York fans are very difficult when you're slumping. We alluded to that on the last show. And I want Joey Gallo to do good because I know Joey Gallo wanted to do good. I don't hate the man. It's become kind of a joke. But, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was excited when we traded for him, and he had some great years in Texas. It's either Texas or Milwaukee, though. The Yankees are going to pull one final trigger and send him out.
I say Milwaukee. I hope Milwaukee gets him because if not, they just gave up this season.
The only other trade I could see, if it's not Milwaukee with Texas, is if the Rangers call up New York and say, hey, we will offer you Cole Calhoun for Joey Gallo straight up.
I'll take it.
Makes sense.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take
most fans would take it, and both fan bases would take it. So that's the only trade I think that could make sense from Texas side of things. Obviously, I was talking about the whole Martin Perez thing. We can go ahead and eliminate that now.
Yes, sir.
So it's it's just a matter of. I mean, Milwaukee today has a 3-game lead on the Cardinals, and then normally you don't close or you don't trade your closer like that. Are they really going to put that much on Omar Narvaez? We'll see.
That's why they need to get Gallo.
They need to get Gallo, but do they also know something that we don't in regards to the Cardinals? Are the Cardinals about to complete a massive haul for Juan Soto? There's a lot to take into consideration right now.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities that can still come to fruition. Now, there's another team that we talk about enough on this show that hasn't exactly wet their beak yet. Is Uncle Stevie going to do something big? Tommy Pham, D-Rob, Contreras, Bobby Bonilla, anybody? What are we doing? Are the Mets going to make a move? Richie Dorney, we're talking to you, bro. What are you boys doing? This guy claims to be the second coming of George Steinbrenner. I saw a lot of talent move around today. And the guys in Queens who are sitting on only 4 sellouts this year? 4 sellouts? 4 sellouts? Second best team in the NL? 4 sellouts? Come on, bro.
Hey, you know what? Their fans feel like I feel about them. They live this. It's a dream. The Mets are going to be the Mets.
Just like the Knicks are going to be the Knicks. And I'm a Knicks fan. You're a Knicks fan. But when I see those colors, you already know what time it is.
The Mets are going to be the Mets. It's just a matter of time. They're overdue. I said back in May that they will fall apart in May. Then I said, they'll fall apart in June. The Mets are going to be the Mets.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. They're good. They're good. I'm not going to take that. They're good. They're good. But they have to put a few more pieces together to glue it all right. And this is vital for the Mets. I don't know if Uncle Stevie is on that ego trip where he wants to make the big splash at the end of the night and just crush everything we just talked about. But what's up, man? Are the Mets going to make a move?
Remember who their skipper is. Buck Showalter. The
anti-analytic.
No, honestly, I believe it's all coming into play perfectly for the Mets. I think we're seeing something that, for one, we have the return of Jacob DeGrom tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
All night.
And not only that, what makes deals? Deadlines. I think we might not hear anything tonight about the Mets, but I think we're going to hear some splashes tomorrow morning about the Mets.
The 11th hour is going to provide that.
Absolutely. Okay. And, I went on record as saying it the other day. Right now, I think the Mets are the best team in New York. A lot of it does have to do with the fact that they swept you.
In Queens, New York, you're talking about? You said Queens, New York, right?
Yes. No, I didn't say Queens. I just said New York.
Remember the clock is right twice a day, man.
And remember, the mute button's right here, too.
Hey, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. But no.
They're going to think he's frozen. Now he just can't speak. Now you can't leave.
But yeah, no, and this is me giving my unbiased opinion. I'm not a fan of the Yankees or the Mets, but I'm seeing what's going on, and the Mets know right now, can they win with what they have? Maybe, probably not. They need to make some move. and I'm sure it's going to happen. The gap between them and the Braves is not that big, and the gap between them and the Dodgers is not that big. So they've got to make a move. And if they sit on this trade line, if they don't make a move on this trade deadline, that tells me the Mets they are about to implode and be the Mets that we all have known them to be over the years.
They are the Mets.
No.
Three things happen.
Go ahead.
The Mets will be the Mets. You pay taxes and you die. Those three things happen. The Mets will be the Mets.
Yeah, well, you can't forget about the fourth one. Quarterbacks go to Cleveland to die.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Check it. Austin Riley getting the deal. Freddie Freeman didn't. You just brought up the Braves. Got to speak on this. This is not a deadline deal.
Uh-huh.
This is a huge deal in terms of their future. Freddie Freeman, I spoke on this on a show with Brett roughly a month ago about how Freddie Freeman was very disgruntled with his agent. He never truly wanted to leave Atlanta. Personally, I think he got poor advice. He fired the man after the fact. I think the Dodgers players and him probably had a powwow because he's not having a great year, but he's having a good year. But they want to know that he's going to go to war for them when it counts. As far as Austin Riley goes, I'm actually very happy for him because just a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I wasn't quite sure if he would develop into a player that they would want to throw a decade-long contract at. And it's cool to see when guys meet their potential, especially after the previous face leaves, and it happens ever so quickly. Similar to Don Mattingly retiring, next thing you know, Derek Jeter rises to superstardom, and Bernie Williams becomes the unsung dude. But this is cool. I'm happy for Austin Riley. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a great deal for both parties, for the Braves and for Austin Riley. I mean, Austin Riley has come into his own. I believe he's got 29 home runs this year, maybe 28. It's right around there. He's only 25 years old, so not only that, he hasn't even entered his prime yet. So he just became a Brave for life, and we can be looking at the possibility where he's going to be averaging 35 to 40 home runs a year. So, I mean, he's definitely a good centerpiece to build around, especially after the loss of Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers.
Right.
Well, I like everything you said. I do.
They needed somebody after losing Freeman. They needed somebody.
Somebody that they could hang their hat on. And they already got Acuna. They got Acuna. The Braves, it's funny because when I remember them in the 90s, I feel like there was a superstar / all-star at damn near every position. These Braves are a little more gritty. These Braves are good, but they don't necessarily have like that household name shit going on in that clubhouse. But I'll tell you, though, they're well managed. They went on a hell of a run last year and took down some powerhouse teams. Woo. And I would not count them out, while I do believe on this day, the second best team in New York that plays in Queens is the best team in that division right now. Flushing, yeah. What do you do when you we're going to veer this over on a lighter topic for a moment before we hit on quite a heavy one. Mm-hmm. Our New York Knicks joining no one's Philadelphia 76ers in the tampering investigations. Mm-hmm. The 76ers ones go all the way back to James Harden, more recently with the New York Knicks, the Jalen Brunson situation. I mean, it's the Knicks. You know how we said the Mets will be the Mets? Well, guess what? The Knicks are going to be the Knicks too. I myself was very excited, say 10 days ago, thinking that we were going to get Donovan Mitchell, and then I remembered, wait a minute, we're the Knicks. We're not going to do that. No, why would we do that? No, we're not going to do that. And it just kind of continues to add on to the long suffering of Knicks fans everywhere. The max contract to Antonio McDyess, giving Amari Stoudemire the big money when he had the busted up knees. Carmelo Anthony, no. Let's not sign him in free agency. That would make too much sense. Right. Let's give up 5 players for him because we don't want Jay-Z and a Russian billionaire to convince him that Brooklyn is the spot.
Right.
Did I go into the Patrick Ewing trade? Hey, Charles Smith, let's bring him in for Mark Jackson.
That trade. That trade right there must be
Just to let you guys know, I'm loving this right now.
This really hurts me, man. Just go. One of you guys talk about my dysfunctional favorite NBA team. Why on earth I have endured this and continue to endure this? I know why, because I have the Giants and the Yankees and the Rangers for that matter. But I love the Knicks because if they ever do it, it's gonna be the best parade in the Canyon of Heroes because we've been waiting forever.
The trade with Smith and Jackson was probably.
Oh my God!
Dude. I think that ranks up there with the Dave Brown Giants. That's up there.
Hey, let's cut Phil Simms. This kid out of Duke is really good. It's a basketball school, but I really like this kid.
Yeah, horrible.
You guys do really love those Duke quarterbacks, don't you?
I'll let Zappy take this one.
I'm defeated. As a matter of fact, you guys
can't talk about him, man.
Both of you I trust completely. So I'm going to go take a little walk outside. I'll be back in roughly 5 minutes. In the meantime,
I'm gonna let Zappy do this. I'm listening because I can't.
This is your show. This is your show for 5 minutes. I'm going to take a deep breath.
I can't.
I'm not going to cry, but I'm going to take a walk. Zappy, this is your show. This is your show. I will be right back.
Yeah, this is you right here.
No, I mean, honestly, all right. I am loving this because I love watching Knicks fans hurt. I really do. But now going back to the whole Jalen Brunson deal, I mean, I think we're going to be seeing this a lot more. I mean, this is now the second situation this offseason with the Knicks and then also with the 76ers with James Harden. Go back to last year with the Bulls with oh gosh, I cannot remember his name. We got him from the Spurs.
Levine? Was it Levine? No.
No, it's not exactly Levine.
Oh.
It'll come to me in a second. And then DeRozan. And
DeMar DeRozan, yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, and then the Miami Heat while they were getting Kyle Lowry. The same thing happened with the Bucks when they were going after Bogdanovich, but then he didn't end up going there. So that's why they didn't really penalize them. I think this happens a lot more often than we think. Let's be real here.
It does.
We're talking about billionaires that are trying to run a franchise, you know? Yes, it happens. Yeah. However, some teams are better at hiding it than others. So what will come of it? Who knows, you know? But I mean, the writing was on the wall with all the reports coming out of New York about the Knicks and Jalen Brunson. That's all we heard about. I mean, Dallas, Mark Cuban himself thought that Jalen Brunson was coming back to Dallas. And
I did too.
And when the news came out that he agreed on, what was it, a 4-year, $100 million deal to join the New York Knicks, it was kind of like, what? Hold on, pump the brakes here a little bit. What is going on, you know? So, I mean, there's definitely things going on. And I'm sure same thing with James Harden in Philly. I mean, this guy opts out of a $47 million contract to get a 2-year, was $62 million or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it, but the things don't line up correctly. They don't, in my opinion, they do not line up at all. And like you guys said, I mean, it's the Knicks being the Knicks. So what's going to come of it? What's going to come of it? You know, what's next for them?
You know, man, it's like what we call the Cowboys, an accident waiting to happen. Just with us, we can't get out of our own way. It's like no matter what we seem to do, no matter who's in there, and none of this started happening until Dolan got in there. It's like dysfunctional situation after dysfunctional situation. And it's like, God, can somebody use their head? I mean, like, I thought Brunson was going back to Dallas. I mean, I could see because his father is in New York too. He used to play for the Knicks also. But I really thought he was going back to Dallas. And when I heard we got Brunson, and I still think we overpaid him. He's good, but I mean,
he's not your star. He's not your first option. He's got to be your second or third option on any team he plays for. I mean, we saw that when he played with Dallas. Yes, he played well in Luka's absence during the playoffs, but he needs to have that person that is going to have the ball in his hand where Jalen Brunson is going to move around and get the shot. Jalen Brunson cannot be the guy in New York. I'm sorry. I agree. He is not that. He does not have that killer instinct in him.
He's not. So, I mean, that's why I was kind of surprised we got him.
But I think they also got him with the thought that they were going to be able to land the one Donovan Mitchell from Utah. Is that trade done and over with? Maybe, maybe not.
I think it's done. Utah wants too much, and I heard that they don't want RJ Barrett, which is cool because I don't think we need to get rid of RJ Barrett. Is our future, and he's showing it. Leadership on and off the court. We need him, and we have a bad habit of getting players and getting rid of them, and when they go somewhere else, they perform like what was his name that played for Memphis for a while? Zebo. Zach Randolph. We had him.
Zach Randolph,
we let him walk. Let him go. I'm like, what are you thinking about? Since the Dolan era, this is what we've been doing. We get players. We had Jeremy Lin. He was showing his ass. We let him walk. I'm like, what are we doing in New York? I'm like, we're the biggest market.
I was watching the show, by the way. I just want to let you know.
I'm a
huge fan of what you guys do.
Yeah, what are you doing, man? I'm like, I don't know, man.
But you also got to look at it too. Is we all know there's a certain player from France that's going to be coming into the NBA draft next year that it almost seems like all the bad teams are going to tank for. Are the New York Knicks in that position where they can now tank? No, they're not. Exactly. Nope. You don't pay a man $100 million and try to trade for another man to come back and say, no, we're going to tank instead. Right. So really right now, there's more questions than answers in New York. What are you doing? What are they doing? And they failed on so many things. And I think they've been relying on so many hopeful situations. They were hoping that they would get the number one pick to go draft Zion. What happens? He ends up in New Orleans and they somehow get it,
And now they'll be dumb enough to go get Zion.
Uh-oh, look who froze. Anyway, let me finish what he was going to say. We'll be dumb enough to get Zion knowing he hasn't played a game in I don't know how long. I never wanted Zion because I thought
max him out. Don't worry, we converging.
Okay, here we go. We back. Now, how are you going to disappear on us, man? Anyway,
maybe like the interwebs got mad at me because I took a walk. They were like, "Bro, you gotta."
That was definitely the curse of the Knicks right there with you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, Rich, at best, you're above average, bro. They were like, you're above average. Shout out, Aesop Rocky.
Okay, we move on.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on something a little more serious here.
Yeah, because the Knicks are definitely not serious, man.
Zappy, I actually want you to open this if you don't mind, because I'm still angry. Deshaun Watson's legal issues with the NFL make us question what the NFL deems right and wrong on a grander scale. I'm going to let you warm this topic up, and then me and Idris are going to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So really, where do I start with this? It was the verdict that we've been waiting for as fans for quite some time now.
Yeah.
This morning, the news came out that Judge Sue L. Robinson was going to be giving her decision on Deshaun Watson. Was it going to be 4 games, 6 games, 8 games, a year? What was the case? The minute that the NFLPA came out and said, we are not going to argue with her decision, we are not going to appeal it, it told me right there and then it's going to be a 4 to 6 game suspension, which I was leaning towards 6 games simply because of the code of conduct policy. Then the word comes out that it's a 6-game suspension, and the NFL world, especially in the fan base, has absolutely lost their mind. Rightfully so, because we're sitting here and fans of Calvin Ridley are watching this. While Calvin Ridley did do something that does mess with the integrity of the NFL, he placed a $1,500 bet in favor of his team to win a game without him. He didn't place a $1,500 bet in favor of them to lose. So, and he did it on a parlay, Now, going back to this, what fans need to understand first and foremost is This decision on Deshaun Watson was not the decision of the NFL. It was not the decision of the NFLPA. It was the decision of one that was appointed by the NFL and NFLPA to arbitrate this and decide. She did. And then which leads me to this. I truthfully believe that her decision leaned heavily on two factors. One of them being her interpretation of sexual violence, and then the other one being the precedent. Mm-hmm. You're using the term that she used, egregious, or however you say it.
Egregious.
Egregious. What does that mean? Are you telling me that these 25 women, these 25 civil lawsuits that were out there were willingly doing this to Deshaun Watson? Hell no. They didn't just wake up weeks later and say, you know what? Now that I think about it, I didn't like doing that to Deshaun. I'm going to file a lawsuit. But then it also, you can look at the other side. The Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson voiced his displeasure with the franchise and wanted to be traded. And then all of a sudden, all these lawsuits started coming out. There's so many questions that are going unanswered right now. And, then when you start comparing it to, you have 25 civil lawsuits versus Ezekiel Elliott, who had one civil lawsuit, and Big Ben, who had one.
He grabbed a boob from a girl that he was hanging with, that they were like together.
Yeah, and
he was at Mardi Gras. You always see the boobies at Mardi Gras.
Yeah, well,
and they have it.
It's like the Rose Bowl.
It is, it is. But the fact is, if you're going to suspend someone.
It was a code of conduct thing because you're representing the Shield everywhere you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it's also a shot at women. You mean to tell me that women don't mean anything to the NFL? That we should just shit on women and say you don't matter?
This is a bad precedent on both sides because you're punishing a guy that legally they really haven't been able to put the dots together, so to speak. You're shitting on women, and this is not something new. When Ray Rice punched out his girlfriend at the time, initially the NFL's reaction was they were going to give him 2 games. Josh Gordon loves to smoke weed, and before medicinal marijuana, recreational marijuana became more of an acceptance in this nation, that man missed, about 2 years because of the fact that he likes to smoke weed. And let's be real, when you look at the drug abuse in the 70s, amongst NFL players with all those drugs, Vicodin and many others that really affected Percocets, all of that shit. And this is the comedy and all this shit. Something that is grown from the earth, you would rather them not deal with and do damage to their liver, do damage to their brains, something that they can't drink with, something that they can't be behind the wheel behind. You ever hear about anybody wilding out and hurting somebody because they were smoking a little weed? You ever hear about car accidents because somebody's smoking a little weed? The point I'm making is, in taking it full circle, the reason why there's even a heightened sensitivity, more so than normal, and there should be even if this other thing wasn't going down, but you take into account the abortion situation. That opens up a whole nother can of worms. Is something that I most definitely want to talk about on this show, but with the proper female representation, because I'll be honest, boys, 3 men talking about this just won't hit the same way with that topic. But as far as this goes, there is no winning here. If Deshaun Watson serves it, he might turn around and countersue them similar to like what Tom Brady did. Because before we got on the air, I mentioned to Zachy, I said, dude, Spygate was really bad. It was probably way worse than we even realized. But the fact that Roger Goodell's seat was barely warm, he didn't want to deal with that shit. You don't destroy tapes of something that quickly if it's not some shit that could fuck up the Shield, fuck up the product, and fuck up tomorrow's game. He was thinking ahead. And let's not forget, Roger Goodell is a fucking politician first and foremost. Fast forward about 7-8 years later, he gets the Patriots into a smaller situation with deflating footballs, who Aaron Rodgers and other great quarterbacks have admitted that they tend to push the envelope with with the air in the footballs. What does Roger Goodell do? He makes an example out of Tom Brady, and I'm no Brady fan. I respect the man, but I'm not a fan. He wants to make an example because he wants to punish that organization for some shit that they did many years before that. And personally, I think he legitimately told Kraft. He was like, yo, dude, I'm letting you slide on this shit with a slap on the wrist because this is worse. It hurts us worse if this shit comes out. I wholeheartedly believe that was the deal with the Spygate shit. But as far as Deflategate goes, it was a joke. The suspension was a joke. Brady won in the Supreme Court.
Let me be Stephen A. Smith for a second.
Absolutely.
I agree. Everything Zappy said. Black people, stop it. I'm going to say why. I'm seeing black people say, well, Big Ben Big Ben got 6 games. Shut up. They doing it all because Deshaun Watson is black. Shut up. This man had 24 charges against him. 1 charge, you can say, I don't know about that one. 2 charges, 24. And he settled 20 of them. If you are truly innocent.
He settled 3 more this past weekend also. So there's just one that's pending. Yeah, exactly.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. If I'm truly innocent of what I'm being accused of, I'm not paying you a damn dime. We're going to court.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
I
Okay.
will say this. Continue. I want to hear this, and then I'm going to hit you with what I think of this.
Yeah. I'm taking you to court. You're going to have to prove to me. Next up, the women. I think, and I want to let the women know I'm not blaming the women for nothing like this, but I think the mistake made in this whole thing was, why did anyone say anything until why wasn't it mentioned until he said, I want to get out of Houston? And when it was that, they were talking about civil suits. None of them really pushed the criminal thing. You want to lock his ass up if he's truly guilty for what he did. The NFL is full of shit. Josh Gordon.
On many variables, they have been for many years on different things. I mean, you look at drug addiction in the 80s even.
Yeah.
Look at these names.
You could beat women's ass.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, they'll just say
rape women. Do all that shit. You can get
look at Greg Hardy.
Maybe 10 games. Yeah. But if you smoke weed,
you get a lot.
You smoke weed, parlay. Maybe
if you defend yourself, I don't think Alvin Kamara did anything wrong. Of course, I wasn't there. Alvin Kamara, in my personal opinion, somebody was trying to be a punk and think that he was going to get a free paycheck, and Alvin Kamara laid his ass out.
Yeah,
I have a hard time believing that a guy that takes on sanitation jobs to keep him humble doesn't even get paid for this shit. To keep him humble and to relate to working people during the week. That's what Alvin Kamara does. I have a hard time believing that he knocked out some dude just because he knows he could. I think that guy stepped to him, and that I wasn't there. I don't like to be assumptuous, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And one thing I do want to hit on, with the Deshaun Watson situation, I wholeheartedly believe that there is some shade on both sides. Do I think he's partly in the wrong? To a level, yes, because that's a lot of accusations. But on the other side of this, I also think it's a little shady that you have an owner who happens to live on the same block as the prosecutor. And to both your points, this shit blew up right after he made the point that he wanted to get the fuck out of Houston because similar to Cleveland, that's where quarterbacks go to die. Ask David Carr.
Right.
Yeah. And
exactly.
And to follow up with what you said, they are simply that. And that's the issue at hand is we have allegations. We have accusations. We don't have any concrete proof. He has been cleared on so many levels. So it goes to you are innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't necessarily been proven guilty on anything. That's why we're in the position we're in. So once again, it goes back to what exactly is the NFL doing? What is right? What is wrong? We have all this evidence. And then to follow up to what you said, Idris, the timing didn't make sense. However, a lot of the time with cases like this, whether it's sexual assault or whatever the case, most people do not want to speak up unless somebody else speaks up first. You always need that first person to start it.
But that's valid.
And it's a simple case of, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to say something too. And that's the crappy thing about the whole situation is there could have possibly been a lot more women. There could have been a lot more instances, but we don't know. But I mean, the truth of the matter
24 is a lot. 24 is a lot.
If it was 3 or 4, all right, cool, maybe. But did 24 or 25? Did 25 women, whatever the number is? I mean, did they really come together and say, "Hey, I know how we can make a quick buck"?
Yeah.
But hey, I will say this much: I will tip my hat off to Deshaun Watson's agent for structuring his contract the way he did, because when you're looking at it, Deshaun Watson only forfeiting $334,000 of his pay this year because he's going to be suspended 6 games, as opposed to if he would have still been in Houston, he would have been suspended for the amount of $11 million. Now, if he was being suspended for $45 million, oh my God, the number would have been amazing. He would have been $15-16 million. So there's a lot to take in consideration. But all I know is this: when you think of names like Darren Waller, Josh Gordon, DeAndre Hopkins, Vontaze Burfict, and the list goes on and on. And then you think about this, which in my opinion is a lot worse than all of them.
And it ain't even close.
It ain't even close. But the thing is, we as fans need to understand that the NFL and the NFLPA renegotiated this on the CBA to hire an independent arbitrator, so that way they won't have to sit there and say, "Oh, I got this." No, they hired someone for this sole purpose.
It's a way to cover their ass.
Right. It's a way to cover their ass. Exactly.
That's what it was.
And Roger Goodell does have the chance. I mean, are we going to hear an appeal here in the next 3 days? Maybe, maybe not. I personally do not think we're going to. There's just too much on the line. But if we do, are they going to be searching for the whole year? Are they going to be searching for 2 more games? You hear a lot of fans sitting here saying, well, Deshaun Watson, he missed the whole year last year. No, he did not get suspended last year. He did not miss the season due to injury. He missed the season because he was upset with the organization and decided to sit out. That's on him.
Jose Trevino home runs. Yankees up 6-2.
I got that update, bro. They're rolling tonight, and it's a nice bounce back after what happened with a game we let get away. In closing, as always, I enjoy doing this segment, as both of you know. It's cool to be the judge.
The Aaron Judge.
Last final thing I want to say about Deshaun, and I'm going to put this to bed hopefully, is I think there's a lot of wrong on both sides of how they are viewing this, whether it be the media, whether it be the fans. Knee-jerk reactions are a real thing, but also whether it be the NFL, because undervaluing women, people forget, women are a huge driving force of fan bases, and a big part of people who enjoy the sport. And like I said, the timing couldn't be worse. And not that it should even matter with other things, because as we all spoke on, the abortion situation is very controversial as well. Ultimately, I don't think there will be an appeal. I think Deshaun has been advised to take what he gets and keep it moving. But I do think there's wrong on all sides here. And at the end of the day, nobody really knows except the people that were in those rooms. And I'm going to leave it there.
Right.
Start bench cut of today's trades. Montez, Vasquez, Hader. I allowed Zappy to start yesterday on this. I'm going to let Idris go today. Also, just want to make a quick mention before we get into this topic. We are actually also have another show that is available to you doing the NFC West preview, which we pre-recorded last evening, Zappy and myself. And as soon as we get out of here, we're going to get busy on more football previews. Idris, I'm letting you go first. Frankie Montez, Christian Vasquez, Josh Hader. Start bench cut. Let's go.
I'm starting Montez to the Yankees. I'm benching Vasquez to Houston. He went to Houston, right? Vasquez?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I'll make it short.
Yes.
Hader to I'm cutting Hader, San Diego. Okay, the reason I'm cutting that one, I think it helped San Diego. I think it's going to hurt the Brewers unless they pick up Gallo. So, and they still got to chase the Braves and the Mets and the Dodgers. So it's deep there, and I think they just dealt themselves a blow. So I'm gonna cut.
They got weaker. They got weaker.
Yeah. Vasquez in Houston, good pickup. He can play multiple positions. Good hitter. I think Houston shored up some depth. No, Vasquez is my bad. Vasquez is a catcher, right?
Catcher.
Correct.
I'm thinking I'm thinking about what's his face, Mancini. I forgot he's a catcher. I'm gonna still go bench that. You can always use a good catcher, no matter what. Catcher can hit. He's a good hitter. I'm saying Montez to the Yankees because we needed and I'm not being a homer, we needed a pitcher. We're having a lot of rough early starts to where we need the bats to pick us up. And we can't go against teams like Houston and the Rays who will be creeping up slowly. And the Jays like right there too. We can't start slow. We need someone to shut these guys down so they don't jump out in front of us. And with Houston, we got to jump on those guys, or at least stay neck and neck with them going into the later innings because we got the bats to keep up, but we don't want to have to catch up. So that's where I'm going. Sorry for the stuttering because I had to think about Vasquez's position. I was thinking about Mancini.
Nah, you're good, brother, because honestly, there's been so much going on that I myself organizing this, I was getting a little dizzy. And I wanted to make mention that, we had pre-planned the release of our NFC West preview. And I said, dude, there's too much baseball flooding out of the gates.
Too much baseball.
We got to go live.
I'm sitting there like I'm trying to circulate. I'm like, okay, now this guy went here and he went here. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
You're up, Zep.
So honestly, with this one, I could make a strong case for all three of them to start, all three of them to bench, and all three of them to cut. Before I make my announcements, we look at Hader. An awfully weird trade for the Brewers, but a great trade for the Padres. One of the things that has been hurting the Padres has been closing games out. And that has been the difference. Actually, one of the big reasons why they are so far behind the Dodgers now in the division. If they had that closer earlier on, I don't necessarily know if they would be leading the division, but I think it would be a much tighter race. As for Vasquez, let's be real. Houston is loaded from top to bottom. Their pitching staff is good, but this completes them. They needed that.
Yeah.
Which leads me to Montez. The Yankees needed another pitchers badly. Yeah. Injuries have been plaguing them. The Astros have had their number, and it goes back a while here. Bringing in a guy like Frankie Montes, who not only knows the Astros, knows the Mariners, gives the Yankees that pitcher that they badly needed. So with that being said, I'm going to cut Hader. And the big reason why I'm going to cut him is it does improve San Diego, but I don't necessarily know if it gives them enough to put them over the top of the Mets, the Dodgers, or the Braves, or even the Brewers or Cardinals. The Padres still are missing Tatis. We're waiting for that bat to come back. So for that reason, I'm cutting them. I'm going to bench Vasquez as well, simply due to the fact that it does complete them. They didn't necessarily need it, but it helps them. It helps them a lot. And the reason why I'm starting Montez is because while the Yankees, it almost seemed like they wanted to get Luis Castillo, I went on record last week and said, keep an eye on Montez. I believe Montez is going to be the guy that gets traded to New York. And I even referenced the Sonny Gray trade. So for that reason, I believe I start the Montez trade because it gives the Yankees, it puts them back in position to possibly keep that 2-game lead that they have currently on the Astros or even open it up. But if for some reason the Astros do take over the AL, the Yankees will still be in good position to battle them in the ALCS because that series is going to come down to pitching. Both teams are going to get their licks. They're going to get their hits. Aaron Judge is going to get his homers. Astros are going to get theirs. Alvarez is going to get his. Abreu is going to get his. Altuve. But, I mean, the Yankees needed this to happen. The Astros did not. The Yankees absolutely needed this to happen. And for that reason, I start that one.
You know what? He won this battle. Just say it.
Well, this is the thing. I'm going to give Zappy the edge here. You guys came up with the same answers, but the reason why I give Zappy the slight edge is the detail, to be very frank with both of you.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one thing. I do disagree with both of you on one thing. I actually would have cut Vasquez as opposed to Hader, and not because Vasquez is not important, and not because Vasquez is definitely an upgrade over what they have. And massaging a pitching staff is no small task, especially when you're new to a team.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the Hader move, while it might be low-key under the radar because Zappy made some solid points, the Padres still need Tatis and they still need other things to go their way. Come October, if that dude is in positions to close down games, it don't matter if the Dodgers won 104 games and the San Diego Padres only won 89 or 91 or whatever. That dude, in my opinion, is the best closer in Major League Baseball. And believe me when I say that, Clay Holmes has been good. Edwin Diaz has been good. There are other ones. So at minimum, I have to bench him. That's the only thing I disagree with both of you on. But I think both of you essentially really nailed and saw things the way I did. I give Zap the edge on this one, the victory, because of the detail. In closing, I just want to let everyone know, as I already stated, we got our NFC West show actually being aired right now. We got a lot going on, and we're everywhere. And we're actually going to be getting out of here now, and we're going to get busy with some more NFL stuff, keeping everyone ready. Keep an eye out for all these NFL divisional previews. We've also got some fan base episodes that are going to be getting released in the near future, as well as an All Giants show. We got a boxing show, as well as a wrestling show coming in. For Idris Salam and the winner of Start Bench Cut, Mr. Joey Gallo, I am your host, Richie Hicks. Until next time, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.